Welcome to the lecture series 2.2 in the chapter Elasticity. Contents are types of elasticity, Young's modulus, bulk modulus and rigidity modulus, longitudinal strain coefficient, lateral strain coefficient and Poisson's ratio. Types of elasticity. There are three types of elasticity corresponding to the three types of strain. First one is Young's modulus, also known as elasticity of length or linear elasticity, but popularly we call it as Young's modulus. Second one is bulk modulus, also known as elasticity of volume. Third one is modulus of rigidity or simply rigidity modulus. Thus, three types of elasticity. Remember, Young's modulus, bulk modulus and rigidity modulus. Young's modulus, we denote it by the letter capital Y. So we know that the restoring force developed per unit area of cross section is called longitudinal stress or linear stress. Also, the change in the length per unit length in that direction is called longitudinal strain or linear strain or also known as elongation strain. The ratio of longitudinal stress to linear strain within elastic limit is called Young's modulus. It is also known as coefficient of direct elasticity. Simply, it is ratio of longitudinal stress to linear strain or simply stress by strain or longitudinal stress by longitudinal strain. If F is the force applied normally to a cross-section area A, then the stress is given by F divided by A. If capital L is original length and X is change in length due to the applied force, then strain is given by X divided by L. Then Young's modulus Y is equal to normal stress divided by longitudinal strain, that is equal to F by A divided by X by L. Simplification gives us F into L divided by AX. Unit is Newton per meter square. Next, bulk modulus denoted by capital K. When the deforming force is applied normally and uniformly to the entire surface of a body, then it produces a volume strain. The applied force per unit area gives the normal stress or pressure. The ratio of compressive stress or pressure to the volume strain without change in shape of the body within the elastic limits is called bulk modulus. If F is the force applied uniformly and normally on a surface area A, the stress or pressure is F by A. And if small v is the change in volume produced in an original volume, capital V, then strain is given by small v divided by capital V. Then K is equal to compressive stress divided by volume strain, that is equal to F by A divided by V by V, which gives F into V divided by small a into V, or we can write it as PV by V, Newton per meter square, because the ratio F by A is denoted by the symbol P here. Bulk modulus is referred to as incompressibility and hence its reciprocal is called compressibility, strain per unit stress. Last one, rigidity modulus denoted by N. Consider a rectangular solid cube whose lower face DCRS is fixed and on whose upper face a tangential force F is applied in the direction as shown. Okay, so you can see the diagram in the bottom of the slide. It's not very clearly visible maybe. Under the action of the force, the layers of the cube which are parallel to the applied force slide one over the other such that A shifts to A dash, B to B dash, P to P dash and Q to Q dash. That is, the planes of the lower face ABCD and PQRS can be said to have turned through an angle theta. This angle theta is called the angle of shear or shearing strain. Tangential stress is equal to the force F divided by area A of the face APQB. Hence, tangential stress is equal to F by A, and from figure theta is equal to X by L. The rigidity modulus is defined as the ratio of the tangential stress to the shearing strain. Thus, rigidity modulus N is equal to tangential stress divided by shearing strain, that is equal to F by A divided by theta, which is equal to F by A divided by X by L, or ultimately we get F into L by AX, that much Newton per meter square. Longitudinal strain coefficient alpha. It is defined as the longitudinal strain produced per unit stress. We can see the equation. Alpha is equal to longitudinal strain divided by stress. Longitudinal strain is represented by X by L divided by stress, that is T. We get alpha is equal to X by LT. So, rearranging, we can write the equation for X. Extension produced X will be is equal to T into L into alpha. Next slide. Lateral strain. If a deforming force acting on a wire having a circular cross section produces a change D in its diameter, when the original diameter is capital D, then the lateral strain is given by small d divided by capital D. Change in diameter divided by original diameter. Okay. It is a contraction strain. Then lateral strain coefficient beta, it is defined as lateral strain produced per unit stress. Let T be the applied stress. Then beta is equal to lateral strain divided by stress, that is equal to small d by capital D divided by T. We get small d divided by TD. Next, Poisson's ratio sigma. When we stretch string or wire, it becomes longer but thinner. That is, an increase in length is always accompanied by a decrease in its cross section. In other words, a linear or a tangential strain produced in a wire is accompanied by a transverse or lateral strain of opposite kind in a direction right angle to the direction of applied force. This change, which occurs in a direction perpendicular to the direction along which the deforming force is acting, is called lateral change. With the elastic limits of a body, the ratio of lateral strain beta to the longitudinal strain alpha is a constant and is called Poisson's ratio, denoted by sigma. Thus, Poisson's ratio sigma is equal to beta by alpha. Next, let us see some equations. If a deforming force acting on the wire of length L produces a change in length X accompanied by a change in diameter of D in it, which has a original diameter of capital D, then lateral strain beta is equal to small d by capital D, longitudinal strain alpha is equal to x by L. Poisson's ratio sigma is equal to beta by alpha, that is equal to LD by XD. Next, limiting value of Poisson's ratio. And we have the relations. Young's modulus y is equal to 2 into 1 plus sigma, and y is also is equal to 3k into 1 minus 2 sigma. We will see this or derive these equations later. Hence, from the equation 2 into 1 plus sigma is equal to 3k into 1 minus 2 sigma, where k and sigma are essentially positive quantities. If sigma be positive quantity, then the right hand side and left hand side expressions must be positive. That is, 1 minus 2 sigma should be greater than 0, or 2 sigma should be less than 1. This gives sigma is less than 0.5. If sigma is negative quantity, then the right hand side and left hand side expressions must be positive. That is, 1 plus sigma should be greater than 0, or sigma is greater than minus 1. Thus, the limiting values of Poisson's ratio is sigma less than 0.5 but greater than minus 1. That means sigma lies between 0.1 and minus 0.1 and 0.5. If sigma is equal to 0.5, then bulk modulus is infinite. It means that the substance is perfectly incompressible. Actually, there is no substance which is perfectly incompressible. If sigma is equal to minus 1, the rigidity modulus is infinite. It means that if a body is extended linearly, then it should also extend laterally. No substance exhibits such phenomenon. In actual practice, the value of sigma varies from 0.2 to 0.4. This is the practical limit. Next, relation between y and alpha. Expressions for y, n and k in terms of alpha and beta. So these are some of the equations we are going to derive later. For y, k and n, y is equal to 1 by alpha, k is equal to 1 divided by 3 into alpha minus 2 beta, n is equal to 1 by 2 into alpha plus beta. So we will derive these equations in the next lecture. Thank you.